They declared war. She just said, "Good doom is coming." Part 1. In the huge, shining hall on Valor Prime, the leaders of many alien races sat in their tall chairs. They came from worlds far away, and they looked very different from each other. Some had skin like clear crystal that glowed with soft light. Others looked like big insects with hard shells and many legs. A few were tall and thin like walking plants with leaves for hair. All of them belonged to the Galactic Concordance. This group made rules for the whole galaxy. They decided who could go where and who had to follow orders. For many years, they watched Earth and the humans. Humans were new in space travel. They built ships fast and went to many stars. They found good places to live and started making homes there. The Concordance did not like this. They sent messages many times. "Stop mining in our special clouds of gas," they said. "Stop building bases on planets we claim they ordered." Humans read the messages but did not. And for many months, at last they agreed on one big plan. They would send a strong message to Earth, a message that no one could ignore. On the chosen day, the great hall filled with important guests. Bright lights shone from the high ceiling. Hollow screens showed the faces of rulers who could not come in person. The High Arbiter stood in the middle. His name was Siltharion. His body was made of living light, and he floated a little above the floor. He raised his arms, and the room became quiet. "Today we speak to the humans," he said in a voice that came from everywhere. His words went out to every ship and every screen on Earth. At the same time, people of Earth, listen well. He began. "You have broken our laws too many times. You take what is not yours. You spread like fire in dry grass. You refuse to join our peaceful ways. Because of this, the Galactic Concordance now declares war on your world. You have 72 standard hours to give up. Send your ships to us, give us your border stars, accept our watchers in your cities. If you do these things, the war will end before it starts. If you do not, we will come with all our power. Your planets will burn. Your people will have no home left. Your name will fade from the stars. This is our final word. Choose wisely." The message ended. In the hall, the alien leaders waited. They expected screams, or a silence, or maybe begging. Instead, they got one word back very fast. The word came from a woman on Earth. Her name was Elena Voss. She worked in a deep room under mountains. Many leaders stood around her. They watched big screens that showed the alien hall. When the declaration finished, everyone looked at her. She sat in a plain chair. Her hair was short and gray. Her eyes were dark and calm. She listened to the whole message without moving. Then she leaned forward just a little. She pressed the button to send her answer. One word came out of her mouth: "Good." That single word flew across space. It reached every ship and every leader in the Concordance. In the great hall, the aliens looked at each other. Some made sounds that meant surprise. Some laughed in a strange way. Siltharion turned his glowing head. He stared at the hollow image of Elena. She looked back at him with no fear. Her face showed nothing big. Just a small line at the corner of her mouth, like someone who heard a joke only. See, she understood. "What does this mean?" one crystal leader asked. "Is it a mistake in their language? Do they not understand the danger?" Another insect leader clicked his claws. "Humans are strange," he said. "They use few words when they should use many. Perhaps this is their way of saying yes." Siltharion did not answer right away. He watched the hollow until it went dark. The human woman had stopped the link. She did not wait for more talk. She did not ask questions. She did not beg or argue. She just said good and ended it. The aliens talked among themselves for a long time. Some said humans were fools. Some said humans were brave in a stupid way. Some said the word good meant they accepted death. None of them felt worry yet. They had big fleets and strong weapons. Humans had only small ships and new engines. The Concordants had ruled for thousands of years. No one had ever stood against them and won. They thought this would be easy. They thought 72 hours would pass. Then humans, and would send white flags. Or humans would fight a little and lose fast. They did not know what good really meant. Not yet on Earth. The deep room under the mountains became busy. People moved fast. Screens showed maps of stars and ships. Voices spoke in many languages. Orders went out to every base and every factory. Elena Voss stood up from her chair. She walked to a big table covered with lights. She looked at the moving dots that showed enemy ships coming closer. Her helpers waited for her to, sleep. Then she turned to another helper, sleep. Then she turned to another helper. Tell the outer teams to wake the sleepers. The sleepers were big machines hidden in dark places. They waited for many years. Now their time came. Elena looked at the ceiling for a moment. She thought about her home and her people. She thought about children playing in parks. And voice stayed low and steady. They want a voice stayed low and steady. They want a war, she said. So we give them one, but not the war they expect. Around her, the room filled with new sounds. Machines hummed, people typed fast. Ships far away turned their engines on. No one cheered, no one cried. They just worked. Because good was not a small word to them. Good was the start of something. A big something that would shake the stars. Elena walked to the door. She stopped and looked at everyone. 72 hours, she said. Use them well. Then she left the room. Outside, the mountain air was cold and clean. She stood on a high place and looked up. The night sky showed many stars. Some of those stars now belonged to angry aliens. Some of those stars would soon see fire. She took a slow breath. She whispered to herself, "Good." Then she went back inside. The clock started. The galaxy waited. But the galaxy did not know yet doom was already moving, and it wore a human face. They declared war. She just said, "Good, doom is coming." Part 2. The 72 hours passed like a short breath for the aliens. Their huge fleet jumped out of the dark folds of space right at the edge of the human solar system. 1,200 big ships filled the black void with sharp lights and glowing engines. The Khazari ships looked like long crystal spears that caught starlight and threw it back in, to painful flashes. The Vren carriers moved like living clouds full of small, angry fighters. Other ships from client races added heavy guns and thick armor. The commanders felt sure of victory. They saw no human fleets waiting in neat lines. No bright defenses shining to greet them, only quiet planets and a single yellow sun. They laughed on their bridges. One Vren admiral sent a message to his crew. "See how the small ones hide," he said. "They know their end comes." The fleet moved forward in a perfect order. Scouts flew ahead to find weak spots. Then something strange happened. The first scout ships vanished, not blown up, not shot down, just gone. No explosion, no signal, no debris. The admirals checked their screens again and again. Sensors showed nothing. Then more scouts disappeared one after another, like drops of water falling into deep sand. A Khazari captain shouted orders. "Activate all shields, scan for traps." The fleet slowed a little. That was their first mistake. From hidden places in the asteroid belt, long, silent guns woke up. These were not small weapons. Humans had turned whole rings of rock into cannons. The rings stretched for thousands of kilometers. They had waited in the dark for years. Now they spoke. Thick beams of solid metal flew out faster than sound. The projectiles hit like mountains moving at terrible speed. They did not explode with fire. They just punched through armor and kept going. One crystal spear ship broke in half, its glowing body, a crack like glass under a hammer. Another Vren carrier lost its main engine section. Small fighters spilled out like seeds from a broken pod. The aliens tried to return fire. Their plasma guns lit the darkness, but human defenses did not shine back. The guns stayed dark until the moment they fired, then they went quiet again. The invaders could not find them fast enough. More rings unfolded, more asteroids cracked open to show hidden launchers, clouds of small torpedoes poured out. These. My torpedoes looked simple, just metal tubes with engines, but each one carried enough force to crack a moon. They flew in wild patterns. Some zigzagged, some spun, some pretended to miss, then turned at the last second. The alien shields flared bright as torpedoes hit. Some shields held, most did not. A dreadnought from a bird-like race took 3 hits in a row. Its hull opened like a flower in reverse. Air and fire bloomed out, then froze in the cold. The alien captains yelled for formation. It changes. They tried to group tighter, that made them better targets. From far away, a human voice came over every open channel. It was Elena Voss again. Her words were calm and clear. "You came to our home," she said. "Now you stay forever if you want, but we think you will not like it here." The aliens cut the channel. They did not want to hear her. But her voice stayed in their minds. Then the real surprise began. A single human ship appeared on their screens. It was small. Smaller than most, a shuttle's. No guns showed on its hull, no armor plates. It looked like an old cargo runner. The aliens thought it was a mistake, a lost civilian ship. They sent fighters to capture it. The little ship did not run. It flew straight at the heart of the fleet. When it got close enough, the fighters fired. The small ship ignored the hits. It kept coming. At the last moment, it opened. Not with weapons, with something worse. A bright point appeared in front of it. The point grew fast. It pulled light, and space into itself. A black hole bloomed. Small but hungry ships near it felt their hulls bend. Engines screamed as they fought the pull. The Singularity warhead worked perfectly. It ate 30 capital ships in one long, terrible breath. Metal twisted, crew members floated out, then vanished. The fleet broke apart. Order turned to panic. Ships tried to jump away. Some collided in their rush. Others fired at shadows. The human swarm ships arrived. Then they came from every direction, ugly, boxy, things made from scrap and hate. They had names painted in bright colors. One said, "Come get some." Another said, "Try harder." A third said, "We brought snacks." These ships did not fight clean. They rammed. They exploded on purpose. They spat missiles that split into more missiles. Human pilots laughed over the radio. Some sang songs. Some told jokes in bad alien languages. One pilot said, "Thank you for coming all this way. We hate to waste a trip." The aliens tried to regroup near Mars. That was their... The second mistake, Mars had changed. Humans had dug deep under the red dust. They built factories that never stopped. Now those factories opened their doors. Long trains of railguns rose up. They fired without pause. Solid slugs hit alien ships so hard that armor folded like paper. The Concordance fleet lost half its strength in the first day. Commanders begged for retreat. Siltharion watched from his safe ship far away. His light body flickered with worry for the first time. He sent a new message, to Earth. "This is not necessary," he said. "We can talk. We can find peace." Elena answered right away. Her face filled every alien screen. She looked tired, but not scared. "Peace," she repeated. "You brought war to our door. You said our home would burn. You said our name would vanish. Now you want peace." She paused for one breath. Then she smiled, small and cold. "No, we keep what you gave us. War, enjoy it." The feed cut. Siltharion stared at the empty screen. His officers looked at him. No one spoke outside. The battle continued. Human ships chased broken alien vessels. They did not give mercy. They did not need it. They just finished the job. In the deep bunker, Elena watched the screens. Red dots turned gray one by one. Enemy ships died fast. Her helpers worked without rest. She drank water from a metal cup. She looked at the map of the solar system. Many lights still burned red. Many enemies still lived. She set the cup down. Her voice stayed quiet. "Good start," she said. "Now we go. We'd visit them." The room filled with new orders. Ships turned their noses outward. Engines roared to life. The counterattack began. The aliens had declared war. Humans had said good. Now the galaxy would learn what good really cost, and the price was high. They declared war. She just said good doom is coming. Part 3. The broken alien fleet tried to run back to their own space. Many ships limped with cracked hulls and dead engines. Others burned bright, then went dark forever. Human ships followed. Eat them out of the solar system. They did not chase like angry wolves. They hunted like patient machines. Elena Voss moved her command to a new ship. It looked like a giant rough rock from space. Inside it held command rooms, weapon bays, repair docks, and sleeping quarters for thousands. She called it Home Away. No one argued with the name. From there she watched the maps change every hour. Red enemy dots turned gray one after another. She gave orders in a quiet voice. People obeyed fast. No one. I needed her to shout. The first target was the Khazari border worlds. These planets had tall crystal towers that touched the clouds. The towers sang soft songs when wind blew through them. Humans did not care about songs. Heavy kinetic ships arrived first. They dropped long rods from high orbit. The rods fell fast and hit hard. Each one carried the force of an old mountain falling from the sky. Crystal cities cracked open. Bright pieces flew into the air like broken glass. Khazari soldiers had tried to fight back with light weapons. The beams looked pretty but did little against thick human armor. Human troops landed in ugly drop pods. They came out wearing heavy suits painted in bright, angry colors. Some suits had words written on them. One said, "Problem solved." Another said, "Hold my beer." The soldiers carried big guns and sharp blades. They moved fast in low gravity. They broke into buildings and took control of power stations. They did not kill everyone. They just made sure the lights went out and the song stopped. Next came the Vren hive ships. These giant living vessels floated like angry beehives. Inside, millions of insect warriors waited. Humans boarded them anyway. They cut holes in the hull with plasma torches. Then they went in wearing suits that kept air inside. The fighting happened in dark tunnels full of sharp legs and clicking jaws. Humans used shotguns that sprayed metal balls. They used chainsaws attached to rifles. One human soldier laughed loud over. Small Vren fighters poured out in panic. Small Vren fighters poured out in panic. Human drones waited outside. The drones were cheap and fast. They chased the small ships and rammed them. No fancy dogfights, just simple hard crashes. Client worlds watched this happen on their screens. One after another. They sent messages. "We surrender." I said, "Please do not come here." Elena read the messages. She answered most with one word. Noted. Some she ignored. Those who stayed quiet got a visit. Human fleets showed up at their stars. Big ships parked in orbit. Smaller ships landed troops. The troops handed out papers. The papers said new rules. No more attacks on humans. No more secret plans. Pay a small tax in metals and food. Help rebuild what got broken. Most leaders signed fast. A few tried to fight. Their cities burned for a day. Then, they signed too. Siltharion stayed far away on his last safe station. He called for a meeting. He wanted to talk face to face. Elena agreed. She came alone on a small shuttle. No guards, no big guns, just her in the same gray uniform. The shuttle docked. She walked into the meeting room. Siltharion floated there with his light body. Other leaders stood around him. They looked tired and small. Siltharion spoke first. "This must end," he said. "Too many have died. Your people fight like nothing we." "Oh, no, we offer terms. Stop now. Take some systems. We will pay tribute. We will leave your space forever." Elena listened with calm eyes. She looked at each leader one by one. Then she spoke. "You came to our home," she said. "You said you would burn it. You said our children would have no future. You said our name would disappear. Now you stand here and ask for peace." She stepped closer. Her boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. "You do not get to choose the end," she continued. "You started. At this we finish it." Siltharian tried again. "We can share the galaxy, we can teach each other. Humans learn fast." Elena shook her head slow. "We already learned," she said. "We learned you think you are better. We learned you make rules for others but not for yourselves. We learned you break promises when it suits you." She turned to leave. "Wait," Siltharian called. "What do you want?" Elena stopped at the door. She looked back. "I want you to remember," she said. "Remember what happens when you threaten a human home. Remember what good means when it comes from us." She walked out. The shuttle left. Minutes later, stealth ships slipped close to the station. They carried small packages. The packages held antimatter. The station became a new bright star for a short time. Then it was gone. No more Siltharian, no more Central Command. The concordance broke apart like dry wood. Some races ran to far corners. Others sent ships to Earth. They asked to join. They asked for protection. Human leaders talked. About it, Elena listened from her chair. She did not vote. She just said one thing. If they behave, let them in. If they do not, we know what to do. The fleets kept moving. They took more worlds. They broke more fleets. They did not loot. They did not take slaves. They just made sure the threat ended. On Earth, people watched the news. Children drew pictures of human ships. Old people told stories of the old wars. Everyone knew one name, Voss. They said it with quiet pride. Elena stayed on her rock. She slept little. She ate simple food. She looked at star maps every day. One helper asked her, "When does it stop?" She looked up. "When they understand," she said. "When they know deep down that war with us ends. One way." The helper nodded. He went back to work. Outside, the galaxy changed fast. New stories spread. Aliens whispered about the silent woman. They called her many names. The Endbringer, the one who smiles cold. The Doom that answers. Good humanity did not conquer for gold or a land. They conquered because someone dared to hurt their home, and humans never forget that kind of dare. The war was not over yet, but the end came closer every day. Elena looked at the next target on her map, a rich trade world full of ships and money. She pointed at it. Next, she said, the fleet turned. Engines burned bright. Doom kept coming, and it still said, "Good, they declared war." She just said, "Good, Doom is coming." 4 years passed after the last big battles ended, the old Galactic, and Concordance became a name people whispered like a bad dream. New maps showed human ships in places no one expected. They did not build shiny palaces or golden thrones. They built stations that looked like factories. They repaired broken worlds and taught new ways to grow food. They let anyone come who promised no trouble. Refugees arrived in long lines of old ships. Some came from cracked crystal cities. Others escaped dying hive worlds. They landed on human planets with fear in their eyes. And expected chains or death. Instead, humans gave them water and bread. Then humans asked one question. "Can you work?" Most said yes. They got jobs fixing machines or planting seeds. They learned human words slow but steady. Children from alien families played with human kids in dusty parks. They laughed together even when they did not understand every word. Stories spread fast across the stars. In quiet bars on distant moons, traders told tales. They spoke of the woman who said good and changed. In everything, they called her the Silent Doom. They said her eyes held winter. They said her smile cut deeper than any blade. On Vren worlds that still stood, survivors carved small statues. The statues showed a human woman with short hair and crossed arms. Under the statues, they wrote one word in their language, good. It became a warning. Mothers told children, behave. or the good lady will come. Young warriors who wanted revenge heard the stories and grew quiet. They read old battle records. Small groups gathered secret weapons. Small groups gathered secret weapons. They built hidden bases in dark nebulae. They planned one last strike. Human scouts found them. Every time small teams went in quiet, they left no survivors to tell the tale. Word got out anyway. People learned fast. Do not poke the sleeping bear. The bear already woke up. Now it walks a galaxy with open eyes. On Earth, life went back to normal in many ways. People worked and loved and argued like always, but something felt different. A quiet strength ran through every street. Children grew up hearing about the war. They played games where they pretended to be Elena Voss. They made cardboard ships and shouted good before imaginary battles. Schools taught new history, not just human wars, but the day the galaxy learned respect. Teachers showed old recordings. The moment Elena said that single word, students watched in silence. They felt proud in a way words could not explain. Elena Voss disappeared from public life. No big speeches, no medals on her chest. She moved to a small house high in the mountains. The house had a porch with a wooden chair. She sat there most evenings with a hot drink. She watched the sun go down behind sharp peaks. Visitors came sometimes. Young officers asked for advice. She listened more than she spoke. Old friends brought news. She nodded and walked careful up the path. He bowed low. Walked careful up the path. He bowed low when he saw her great Voss. He said in careful human speech, "I come to ask one thing." Elena pointed to the other chair. "Sit," she said. The alien sat. His feathers shook a little. He took a breath. "Why did you say good that day?" he asked. "Why not fear or anger or—" "Please, no." Elena looked at the dark sky. Stars shone cold and bright. She sipped her drink slow. "Because they needed to hear it," she said. "They thought we would break easy. They thought humans run when pushed hard. I wanted them to know we do not run. We step forward." The alien tilted his head. "But so many died," he said. "On both sides." Elena nodded once. "Yes," she answered. "War costs blood. Always has. But they chose the price first. We just made sure they paid it." The diplomat thought for a long time. Then he spoke again. "My people read your old books. We see wars that never end. We see humans fight each other, then stand together. We do not understand it." Elena smiled small. "We fight because we care," she said. "We care about home, we care about tomorrow. When someone threatens that we stop being nice, we become something else, something hard, something that does not quit." The alien looked at her for many minutes. Then he stood. "Thank you," he said. "I will tell my leaders. Be careful. Remember what good means." He bowed again and left his ship, rose quiet into the night. Elena stayed on the porch. She finished her drink. She looked up at the stars again. Somewhere out there, new races grew strong. Some would test the borders one day. Some would send messages full of pride. They would declare things. They would make demands. She knew it would happen. It always did. She stood up slow. She walked inside. She closed the door against the cold wind. In far systems human, and ships patrolled quiet. They carried names that made aliens smile nervous. One ship called Last Warning. Another called Try Me. They did not start fights. They ended them fast when needed. The Terran Accord formed slow. Not an empire with flags and crowns, just a simple agreement. Humans at the center, others around them. The rule stayed the same. Do not threaten human homes. Do not break the peace. Break it and find out what happens next. Stories kept growing. In alien schools, teachers showed pictures. They showed Elena on that first day. They showed broken fleets. They showed new worlds with human and alien workers side by side. They ended every lesson with one sentence: humanity does not seek war. But when war comes, humanity answers good, and then doom follows. No one laughed at that sentence anymore. No one called it bluff. They knew better now. Elena slept sound that night. She dreamed of nothing special. Just a quiet field under blue sky. Children ran and laughed. She watched. Forgave slow. They forgot never. And when forgave slow, they forgot never. And when the next challenge came, they would answer the same way, with one small word that carried the weight of worlds. Good they declared war. She just said, good, doom is coming. Part 5. Many more years rolled by like slow rivers. The Terran Accord grew strong and steady. It looked nothing like the old. Concordance. No giant crystal halls, no floating arbiters giving orders from high seats, just plain meeting rooms on Earth and a few other worlds, tables made of real wood chairs that creaked when someone sat too heavy, coffee pots that never stayed full long. Leaders from many races came to these rooms. They argued loud sometimes, they laughed other times, they signed papers that kept the peace. The rules stayed simple. Everyone gets to live their way, as long as no one threatens human. The homes break, that rule, and the answer comes fast. The answer still carried the same small word. Good new generations grew up under this quiet understanding. Human children learned math and history and how to fix engines. Alien children sat in the same classrooms. They drew pictures of mixed crews on ships. They played games where no one won by destroying everything. They learned early that some lines must never be crossed. In far systems, old grudges tried to wake again. A young race called the Zorath found strength in hidden shipyards. They built sleek black vessels with sharp edges. They listened to stories of the old war. They thought time had softened the humans. They thought the legend of the silent doom faded. They gathered allies in secret, small races who still felt anger. They planned a strike on a human colony world, a green planet with farms and schools and laughing families. They sent their first scout ships to test defenses. The scouts never came back. Human patrol ships. They found the wrecks. They sent one message back to Earth. Guests arrived. Elena Voss heard the news on her porch. She had gray hair now and lines around her eyes. She still drank the same black coffee. A young admiral came to see her. He stood tall in his crisp uniform. He spoke careful. "Ma'am, we have a situation." She looked at him over her cup. "Tell me," she said. He explained the Zorath plans. He showed holo maps of their fleets. He asked what orders she wanted to give. Elena set her cup down. "They're back to the Admiral. Send this message." She back to the Admiral. "Send this message," she said. "To every ship and every world in the Accord. Tell them the word is good." The Admiral blinked once. Then he smiled small. "Yes, Mom," he said. He left fast. Hours later, the message went out. One word repeated across every channel: good. The Zorath commanders heard it. They laughed at a first. They said the old woman plays games. They pushed their fleets forward. They jumped into the target system. They expected weak defenses. They found none. No bright shields. No waiting armadas. Just empty space and one small human station. The station looked old and harmless. The Zorath ships closed in. Then the station spoke, not with guns, with a single bright pulse. The pulse carried no fire. It carried data. Old data from the first war recordings of broken ships, screams in many languages, pictures of empty thrones and one face, Elena Voss looking straight at the camera. Her voice came calm and clear. "You were warned," she said. The pulse ended. Then the real response arrived. Human ships dropped out of fold space. They came from every direction, not in neat lines, in wild packs. Some looked new and shiny, others looked patched and mean. They carried names painted big. One said second warning, another said told you, so a third said coffee break. Over the Zorath tried to form battle lines. They fired first bright beams, cut the dark. Most missed, some hit. Human ships shrugged off the hits. They kept coming. They rammed the lead. Zorath vessels. Explosions bloomed quiet in vacuum. Boarding teams jumped across. They fought in corridors with knives and guns. They sang old songs while they worked. The Zorath broke fast. Their allies ran first, then the main fleet scattered. Human hunters chased them to the edge of the system. They did not kill everyone. They let survivors limp home. They let them carry stories, stories that would last longer than any ship back on Earth. Elena sat on her porch again. The same young admiral returned. He looked tired but proud. "It's over, Mom," he said. "They surrendered. Their leaders beg for terms." Elena nodded once. "Good," she said. "Tell them the terms stay the same. No threats, no secret plans. Work together or stay far away." The admiral saluted. He left night, came soft over the mountains. Stars filled the sky and whispered to the night good. Then she went, whispered to the night good. Then she went inside. She closed the door. The galaxy kept turning, new races rose, old ones healed. Through it all the accord held, not by fear alone, but by memory. Memory of one woman, one word, one promise, that when pushed too far, humans answer simple, and doom follows close behind. No one tested. That promise lightly anymore. No one wanted to hear that word again, because when they did, they knew what came next, and next always hurt. So the stars stayed quiet. Peace lasted long, and somewhere in a small house an old woman smiled at the fire. She knew the truth. Doom never left, it just waited. Patient, calm, ready, for the day someone said the wrong thing, and she would answer. Good.